Hello guys, it's Arnold again with another video on .NET Core, and I am making a small change to the videos as Alan Rasmussen commented on one of them that I'm using a black background and high resolution, and I think he doesn't like it. Now I really prefer the dark gray look of Visual Studio. I think it looks much better, but I have increased the zoom by 25%, so I hope that makes the code a bit more readable if you're not using a big screen. Now onto the real topic of this video, which is implementing searching profiles. I am going to make a small change before that, so to the controller and then the profile controller. And last time I implemented the edit method, which enables the user to edit his or her profile. And I wrote this code on which I commented myself that I thought it was pretty dirty. So I'm going to modify it. This can go. And for this, there is actually a method in the .NET framework, which is path.getFilename. And this will strip off anything that isn't part of the file name. So that's solved nicely with this. On to the next part. So how are we going to implement searching profiles? I'm going to use two view models, one to implement the search form and one to implement the result. So let's get started with that. Under models, so let's add them here. Add new class. Sorry, it's not visible for you. Profile search view model. It's a bit of a long name. And then for the search result, also add new class and then call it profile search result view model. Okay, so this one is going to determine how our search form will work. So let's add properties for all the fields. We want to search by gender. Of course also by age, but we have only stored the birth date of someone. So we're going to invent some properties for this. Let's have a minimum age and a maximum age. And then also we're going to do the same for the height of a person. And lastly, we want to be able to specify if someone smokes or not. So let's add a boolean for this, public bool no smoking, to indicate that we prefer non-smokers or smokers. So last thing we can do with this is add some nice description labels for these fields. So let's add a display data annotation. Let's import system component model data annotations and then say that the name will be I'm looking for a. All right, and then this will be I'm looking for a, and then the user will see a drop down with male or female or man or woman, whatever we like. And then for the age, I'm going to do here age from to, and the same for height. And then for smoking, I'm going to ask only non-smokers. And if this is true, we will only get the non-smokers. And I guess that's it for the form. So let's look at the second view model, which will be our result. So what do we want to show to the user as a search result? First off, we need the ID if we want to create any links or stuff like that. So let's put it in there. So the gender would be nice to display. The display name. The age. The height. The description. And the occupation. And then obviously we need the profile picture. And if he or she is a smoker. Alright, so this is pretty similar to the profile class, but it has subtle differences, such as the age, most importantly. So we cannot use the profile class to display our profiles. We have to use this one. And we can also add some display names for the form fields here. So why not do that right now? Again, add the correct namespace. Let's add one here as well. And here as well. Okay, so I guess this is fine for now. So we can use these classes to scaffold views. Let's do a quick build first. Build solution. What's this? Okay, so this is a typical incomprehensible error. Let's restart Visual Studio. And build again. And now it works. I have absolutely no idea why it displayed an error. But anyway, a restart fixed it. So let's continue. And we can scaffold views. So we need two, a form and a results list. So I'm going to move this a bit to the left, so you can see it. So profile, add new scaffolded item. And then we want an MVC view. And the name will be search and the template will be create, as this will create a form. Model class will be profile search view model. And we don't need to specify a data context class. So let's hit add. And this has generated our search form. Now, obviously, again, same as last time, it did not generate a drop down for gender, but we can copy paste it from edit. Let's see where we already have this select list. So let's put it in there. And the rest I think is fine. So let's generate the result list. Again, add new scaffolded item, MVC view. And this time let's call it result. Let's make it a list of profile search result view model. And then again, we don't need a data context. And then we get another error. All right. So let's try again with the data context. And now it works. Let's double check if it hasn't actually created a table in the DB context of this class. Yes, it has. So I'm not sure what's up with the code generators, but this really has to go, as this would create a table for a view model, which is not what we want. The profiles table is enough. So let's get rid of this. From the application DB context. And then we can use this results view to display results. And currently it will be a table. Now we could customize this to display a list of divs with our own custom layout. Let's do that later. Let's first get it working. Now, if you remember from last time, in the layout view, we created menu options and the search option was not implemented yet. So this is looking for a search method in the profile controller, and that's what we're going to create. So let's go to the profile controller. And then let's see. So it doesn't really matter where we put it. Let's put it in between details and edit. And let's first create the method that will return the search form. So this will return an iAction result. And it will respond to HTTP GET requests, which do not post any data. And then we can just simply type return view. And this will return an empty view. Now we could specify some placeholder data for the form field. So let's do that right now. If we create a new profile search view model here, let's call it VM. and enter some data like vm.min age will be 18 and the maximum age will be 85. Let's not be too picky today. Main height 120 centimeters and max height 300. So that's a pretty broad range, and this is of course just as an example. Let's start the website and see what happens. So there it is. Obviously we have to log in. And then we have the search option and it displays our nice form. So I'm looking for well, there is only one mail in the database and it doesn't actually display our data because I actually forgot to specify this here. So let's restart. And there's our default data. All right, and as you can see, this button is still called create. This still has some text here. And this is back to list. Let's get rid of that from the view. So in the search view, let's just say find your match. And this link can go. And the button will be called search. So much better. So that's it for the form. Let's implement the result listing. Back to the profile controller. And we will implement the HTTP post version. And this will also return an iAction result. It will also be called search, but it has a parameter of type profilesearchviewmodel, which will automatically contain the data that the user enters in our form. And then what we are going to build is a list of profile search result view model. Let's first create an empty list, and then if model state is valid, implement our code, and then at the end we will return the view. But instead of just returning the result, we will also enter a string as a parameter, which will be result, which is the name of the view to use. So although this method is called search, it will return the result view. And then second will be the list to display. Alright, first thing we need to do is calculate the minimum and the maximum birth date we can search for, based on the range of ages that the user has entered. So minimum date will be today.add years, add a negative sign, and then we can do the same for the maximum birth date, if you want to call it that. So if a user has a birth date between these two dates, then his age will be between the minimum and the maximum age we have specified. So let's write our LINQ query. Let's say result is from P in, and then we already have our data context, dot profiles, where P gender equals VM gender. So this one's easy. And p.height is larger than the minimum as well as smaller than the maximum. And p.birthdate is larger than the minimum date as well as smaller than the maximum. And now for the last bit, the smoking part. Let's see. So if someone has specified that he wants, that he doesn't care if someone is a non-smoker, then it doesn't matter. Or someone wants non-smoker and the profile smoking type equals to smoker type dot no. So this should either return everything if the user doesn't care, or only non-smokers if the user does care. I guess that covers it, so let's just select the result as a new profile search result view model object, and let's fill in the data. So description is p.description, id is p.id, and I'm basically just filling all the data, but there are some exceptions. So let's first get rid of these red lines by putting toList at the end. So we actually return the same type as it is expecting. So the two exceptions are the profile picture. Let's use string interpolation to return a path including the user ID. So $, and then between the braces profile user ID, then a slash, and then profile.profile picture. And this should return a nice path to our file. Gender is simply pgender. And then we get to the last one, which is the user's age. So calculating the age is not simple enough to put it right here on one line. I'm going to write a separate method for this. So let's get down here and call it private int calculate age and give it a date time to work with. And let's first say that int age is the today's year. So datetime.today.year minus the year of the birth date. Not regarding the years is bigger than today. So if birth date is larger than datetime today add years minus age, the age should be reduced by 1. Simply because someone's birthday hasn't occurred yet for this year. And then we can return the result. So I'm not sure if this is the best way to calculate the age, but let's go with it right now. If you have any suggestions, post them in the comment. Let's say age is, and then calculate age based on the p.birthdate. And that's it. This should return a nice list with results, with everything we'd like to display on our result page. So let's first see if it actually works, and then see what we can optimize. Maybe I can find myself. Let's hit search. And as you can see, I am here in a table. Now this doesn't look too spectacular, so maybe we can optimize this based on some bootstrap styling. Let's go to the result view, and let's first change this into search results, get rid of the create new link, and then also of this part of the table. These links can go. And basically I'm going to modify this for each loop to generate a nice list of divs based on bootstrap. So let's create a new div for each result of class panel with the default panel styling. So it's class panel and then panel default. And then add a heading to the panel. Where we can display someone's name, for example, in a nice h3 tag with class panel title. Get the display name from here, put it in there, and maybe show the occupation next to it. So we can get it from here. And we might as well put the age in between. So now we have someone's name, age and occupation in the title and in the panel itself. Let's create a panel body div and just use the default grid system. So first a row and then inside 2 columns one for the description and another one for the profile picture. So the first one with the description will be 8 of 12. And the second one will then be 4 of 12. Alright, let's put in the picture. I'm not going to use display 4 because this will just generate a label. I'm going to rewrite this as an image tag. So let's first put in our uploads directory and then simply add item.profile picture. And then we can again use our CSS class we created for this profile picture. And that's it. So we don't need this. And then the description can go in here. And for now, let's just get rid of the rest. We don't need to display it anyway. So now this for each loop should generate a nice list of results. Let's format it and add the closing brace and run the result. So again, I'm only going to find myself. Let's click search. And obviously I made a mistake with the divs, as this panel already ends and then there is the description and the image, which is completely expected as I have closed the panel div before displaying the panel body. So let's move this one down below. And that's how it should be. Hit F5 and there is our first search result. It's pretty basic, but I hope it's enough to get started with this page and to customize it to your liking if you want. Maybe later we could also implement some nice Ajax functionality here, where we will have the search form and then load the results without refreshing the entire page. Anyway, that's it for now. We have profile searching implemented, or at least the bare bones of it. There's still enough to do, but this will have to wait for later. Again, thanks a lot for watching and hope to see you again next time.